Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Games Blog Saturday review.
Aye, let me tell you, it's now just another day in the engine room. There we were, minding our own business, when a ripple in time itself plucks me and three of my trusted crewmates right out of our own century. Next thing you know, we're smack dab in the aftermath of the Battle of World 359. We've got to deal with snarling Klingon warriors, Romulan spies and these strange machine creatures. If that wasn't enough, we've got some right determined Federation teams making things difficult. We were right in the middle of one of those
Star Trek Away Missions. Commander Scotty Federation Expansion by Andrew Hort, Mike Hort and Phil Yates from Gale Force 9. Star Trek Away Missions is a great system that seems endlessly expandable. After reviewing the core game and the Captain Kirk Federation expansion, it's now time to look at what Commander Scotty and Communications Officer Nyota Uhura, Chief of Astrosciences Hikaru Sulu, and Duty Officer Mr. Leslie have to offer. In this review I will assume you know the base game. If you don't, maybe check out my review of it to give you an idea of what it's like and if it's for you. So let me start with the miniatures. Like in the base game and the Kirk expansion, they're beautifully modelled with slightly too large heads that make them look a bit more cartoonish than realistic. That is fitting though, because Star Trek Away Missions is meant for all the family. The game, like the TV series and films, aren't about blood and gore and adult topics. The threats and dangers are toned down to fit the audience. So, the miniatures look determined, but not threatening. Ultimately though, the game and expansions are all about the cards. Star Trek Away Missions is a card-driven tabletop miniature skirmish game after all. It's the decks that bring the characters to life and decide how your team scores points. Getting to know the deck is how you improve your chances of winning. Also, like in the base game and expansions, you have a starter deck to get you going out of the box, but you have the option of building your own deck with additional cards if you so choose. Personally, I prefer the ready-made deck approach. Of course, the Commander Scotty Federation expansion offers more than just more miniatures and more cards. There are additional tokens that are linked to cards from the support and mission decks. One of my favorites is the infamous triples. When they enter the fray, they start off being a real nuisance, but they can also turn out to be really useful in the end. I won't reveal anything else, you have to work that one out for yourself. Just brace yourself with the game board filling up with little tokens. The other thing I love about the expansion are so-called beam away missions. They can be quite tricky and add a new mechanism to the core game. They usually involve one of your team being taken off the game board and placed on the mission card, effectively beaming them away. However, they haven't yet materialized anywhere else. That doesn't happen until the next turn, at which point the mission will hopefully succeed. As with other missions, it's mostly about passing skill tests by rolling a certain number of dice. The problem is, if you fail, your team member will have a horrible transport accident and die. So the beam away missions are risky, but they tend to score quite well, so you just have to make sure you've got everything lined up perfectly to give you the best chance of succeeding. Of course, the new decks also contain new equipment, and there's the usual opportunity to get bonuses for completing missions in a certain order that follows events from the original TV series. A lot of attention to detail has been paid to make this a real joy for true fans. I love how Star Trek Away Missions is such a great way to get into the tabletop miniature skirmish hobby. You get a complete game that you can play straight out of the box with minimal overhead. The rules can take a little while to grasp, but as you start playing it, things quickly slot into place. Every expansion adds new little twists and concepts, rather than being merely more cards and miniatures. So if you enjoy the base game, you can easily add more variety. If you want to take it further, You can get fully engrossed in building the perfect deck, or the deck that you will enjoy playing the most. You can also paint the miniatures and open up a whole new can of, well, paint, I suppose. However, if you're like me, and just want to open the box, set everything up, and play it being Commander Scotty, and fight with the Borg or even compete with Commander Riker's team, if you so wish, then the expansions give you a little bit more variety and allow you to play your favorite character from the TV series and films. So, there we have it. It's time for me to teleport away and see what's happening on Wolf 359. I hear there is some trouble with tribbles. Commander Scotty, beam me up.
Thank you for listening to this Tabletop Games Blog Saturday Review podcast. Please check the description below for links mentioned in this episode, as well as to the written version of this article on the blog. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, give us some stars or leave a review. Please also tell your friends about me, and if you want to offer financial support, check out my Patreon and Ko-fi pages, links to which you'll find in the blog at tabletopgamesblog.com. So thank you again for listening, and I hope to see you again soon.
This podcast was made possible by the generous help of my supporters. Royal Patron Sean Newman, Magic Champion John Risley, Castle Guards David Miller and James Naylor, Dice Masters Alex Bardi, Paul Grogan and Robin Kay, and Shining Lights Jacob Davis, Gavin Jones, Sarah Reed and Richard Simpson.